Yeah, flower in my hand. And she said that was her heart. She put a flower in my hand. And she said that was her heart. I can't even sip it out of can. Can she make me want coke? I can't even cruise off in the lamb. That it make me go full throttle. I see the red on the floor when she walk off in designer. I see the energy in you pour. When you come back, I'ma finish you. When you come back, I'ma finish you.
All right, everybody, and we are back for another episode with Audacity, still rocking and rolling with season 2, baby.
I have missed these, like, not that y'all have been like not out of my life, but you know, I've missed y'all.
We miss you too, boo. But yeah, this is season 2 still. Today we are back with a podcast that is always ready to educate, promote, and uplift the community, doing everything unapologetically and with audacity.
Yes.
Period, as the young people say. I think that's what the young people say. I hope I said it right. And today we are talking about exercising with audacity.
Yeah,
right.
Okay, get it tight. We have our
Get
first
tight.
virtual guest.
Boom.
Like, super excited about
Super
this.
excited.
Yes.
So yeah, we have our first virtual guest. Coming straight live from our living room, her living room.
Yes.
Live from her living room. We have Shannon Burge, my cousin Shannon, as everybody has named her. I'm so excited that she is here. She's lit, y'all. She is a business professional, entrepreneur, fitness mogul, and motivator. She is the owner of No Defeat, and she is an executive leader for a major tech company. So yeah, Shannon's aim is to inspire women on the daily and remind them that they can do all things.
No defeat.
No defeat, baby.
I know, right?
If Shannon is not like walking like audaciously, walking bold and unapologetic, I don't know who is.
Exactly.
So yeah, she is perfect for talking about exercising with audacity, being bold, not letting anybody put you in a box, because she certainly does not. So yeah, she is our guest for today. I'm gonna let her introduce herself a little bit, but that's just a little bit of who she is.
A little bit.
So yeah, so hey, Shannon.
Well, hello. No, Jazz, thank you so much for that introduction. But I think you hit it on the nose. I think my biggest thing is don't let anybody put you in a box. You did a pretty good introduction, I'd say. One thing I've always prided myself in is, reminding ourselves that every day you can be in corporate, you can do your own thing. You can go to church, you can travel the world, you can volunteer, you can do all these things. And don't let anybody tell you that you can't. So that is the thing that I really live by. That one quote that I always share with people, and that's why my business is called No Defeat, is that I feel like we should know no defeat. So every day you got to keep gladiating through, keep pressing the limits, keep pushing the limits. And, but while you're doing it, make sure that you're uplifting the people around you, making sure that you're taking them along the ride with you. Because I think that we all have, it should be a commitment, something that we all have to do, right? You get to the top, you have to take people with you. And I will say, I won't make this a gender thing, but I think especially with women, that's really important to make sure that you're uplifting the women around you as well as you go along the ride. So.
Yes, we're doing that in real life.
Okay.
Leave. We're just gonna shut down the mic. We just gonna let you have it, girl.
No.
I love it. Nothing but a word. I will say, I don't think that we said that me and Dr. Jazz were here when we started the podcast.
Yes. We didn't even introduce ourselves coming in. We just started straight up
because Shannon has all attention. I just wanted y'all to know that the crew is here.
The crew is here. I'm here too.
Yes.
Hey,
you guys are here. Yes.
Yeah, the baddie's here. Doctor's in the house. The doctor's in the house, and I'm still out here being normal.
Kara the normal is here.
Yes, and it's season 2.
Yeah.
It's just like almost still in the new year, so we're trying to get fit. New year, new me.
Yeah.
And we got my girl Shannon on here.
Yeah, I love and we had an amazing musical artist to start the episode.
Right.
We had Kenneth Barnes at Almighty KDP to bring us in.
Okay.
So yeah, he is the rapper that you heard at the beginning of the episode and that you hear throughout the episode. So go make sure you check him out. And we also had Terrence at Showtime_showroom. I think Dr. Jazz might want to introduce him. He is our visual artist for this episode. So yeah.
Y'all check out his artwork.
Yes.
See it on our video podcast.
And do you have your workout playlist ready with automatic
KDP?
Yeah.
It's imperative.
It's imperative. You gotta get your mind right.
All right, so let's get our mind right, y'all. Y'all know I like to start with a little check-in.
Oh,
I love check-in. Because we're always like, we're still human. I know we got some work to do. We're gonna get to the business of exercising. But in the meantime, I want to ask everyone, what is a trait that you really like about yourself, and what's a trait that you know could use some work?
And so this could be like a physical trait.
Yeah, because
Or
that's what first came to my mind.
okay.
It could be any trait. It could be any trait. So I'm gonna just be, off color. I'm gonna just be me. My favorite trait is my derriere or my butt. Okay, period. I think I have a big butt, even though sometimes my boyfriend likes to be like, "Oh, you got a medium booty."
Maybe plain.
But that's just me because I like buck my head up all the time. But something that I know could use some work, just like toning, a little couple areas, whatever. But ain't nothing.
Okay, so that's your favorite.
My favorite is my
So
butt.
what's the one you want to work on?
My butt, like the same
It's the
thing.
same-
It's
Oh,
my
Like your favorite and the one you want to work on?
I
think you need two different things.
I mean, technically, you can work. Shannon, can you not work on your butt?
You can work on your butt. We're on the same page here because I would probably say my butt is probably one of my best features. I mean, but it's also my legs and butt are the areas that I'd improve at the same time, depending on, if I'm training for something specifically or not. So it can be your area of opportunity, but also the feature that you love.
The expert said it. Come on. What you say, Jay? Don't be mad. What's your favorite trait, Jay?
And
It don't have to be physical.
it
It don't
doesn't
have to be physical. I'm just being
I
ridiculous.
Yeah. Not ridiculous. The truth is the truth.
Thank you.
Well, since I am a whole package over here,
Oh.
it's very hard.
Baby, a whole entree.
The excellent.
It's a cake. It's a snack. I said it's an entree.
Well,
That's Cardi B. Sorry.
Cardi.
Yeah.
Barty.
My favorite trait about myself, I don't know, I really like the thighs and the booty too. I don't know.
The lower body, it's on point.
I mean, if it's exercising, why wouldn't I first think about my butt?
Okay.
But I also like my eyes as well. I feel like, from here, I'm pretty just all over.
Period.
Hope that didn't sound too bad.
Daddy.
That's right.
A trait that could use some work. A trait
She said no.
I'm gonna say physically, I could always work on the tummy, but I don't like to stop eating bread. And mentally, I could always work on being more patient. But I feel like that's something that you gotta be careful what you ask for, because the more I used to pray for patience, the more God would put me in situations where I had to actively be tested and actively had to practice patience. So I think those two things. So physically, it would be like, ooh, that tummy, you gotta get a little bit more tight. And then mentally, it would be like the active patience. So maybe that's spiritual too.
It's like that. Thanks for bringing it in a little ratchet and sophisticated.
Yes.
Karen, what you got?
So I just want to say first off that I like my body. So I just want to say that. But mine's not gonna be on my body. I like it. I just want everybody to know that I'm happy with it. But mine is definitely gonna be dig a little deeper.
You see, I started doing the deep training.
Okay. Yeah. So a trait that I like about myself, I think that I am like a very strong person. I just feel like I am like just just strong spiritually and mentally, and I really like that about myself. The trait that I could work on is and I'm trying to do this now. It's just like how when I get stressed, how I approach the situation. So am I gonna be snappy, or am I gonna take a breath, or am I gonna like like how am I going? So when I get stressed, how am I coming to the table? Because like if you come to the table and you like, then everybody still knows that you're still like on ain't. So I'm trying to be like kind of like a Martha Stewart, where nothing. If y'all ever see Martha Stewart, nothing gets Martha Stewart frazzled. Martha Stewart is gonna be there the whole time, like,
okay, I'm here.
And that's how I want to be in real life. That's how I want to. That's how
we probably gotta go to jail to do that.
Well, I don't know about that, but
that's patience.
Yeah, I'm working how I approach situations.
Yeah, I like those traits.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking us there.
See, is everybody like really surprised that I'm the one that took us there?
Yep. Just a little bit.
Growth.
There we go. Season 2. Here we go.
All right.
We'll get into the questions. So I know we talk about ourselves a little bit, but we actually gonna just turn the show over to you pretty much.
Well.
I want to ask you the first one to just tell us a little bit, more about yourself and your brand. I know you gave us a great beginning, like power, like so. Feel free to go a little bit deeper, like maybe even what made you come into this, if that's not something we'll talk about later.
Yeah, so it's actually a good story. So I ran track in college. I've always been an athlete, I would say historically, but I had moved to Denver, and you know how you just get into your day-to-day, and I had really kind of lost. I was still in decent shape, but I really wasn't taking time to work out like I had historically done. And, when you talked about, I think, self-care and being strong and all those things, working out had always been a stress reliever for me. You leave everything at the table. You do a good hard workout and you walk away, right? And you release. So when I started thinking about it, I was like, man, I really haven't been working out since I moved to Denver. And one of my employees, I'll never forget it, he said, Shannon, I know you said that you were going to do a fitness show or something, like you had thought about doing that in college. And I was like, yeah, like I think I told him that like right when I started working at Verizon. And he said, you should come with me. I have a trainer. He was like, his wife competes. You should go. You should check it out. And so I went with them, and I remember meeting him, and he goes, yeah, I think you should compete. I think we should do this. And I said, oh, okay, well, let's do this in August. I think it was December at the time. And I started training with them for a month. And then after the month, he goes, yeah, I think we're going to move it up. We're going to do a show in April. And I was like, what is happening here? Like, this is not what I signed up for. I said I would check this out. And now you're telling me I'm competing. And now I'm doing a show in 4 months versus 7 months. And keep in mind, Colorado is a very healthy state. Very healthy. They have a lot of fitness shows, all kinds of stuff. But really, I'm the kind of person that, like, if somebody backs me up against the wall, like, I'm going to perform. And so when he said that, like, at that point, it's like the pressure's on. Like, you're getting on stage. This is a huge show. Like, you're going to do this. So I did train. I trained hard. I had a great support system. I had a few friends who they trained with me every day. They were awesome support. Called me in the morning, made sure I got up, did my cardio. And keep in mind, this is happening when I had just taken on a new role. So it was crazy. Like, I was working full time, working crazy hours, training for a show, and you have to have a lot of discipline. So did the show, did really well at the show. And then at that point I was like, oh, I can do this. Like, this is my thing. So I will tell you, once you compete, it kind of like triggers something. And so did another show, won that show, and then went to junior nationals. So fast forwarding, basically what doing that show did was it really allowed me to take something I was passionate about, which is fitness and health. But then I've always been very passionate about volunteering and helping kids and all those things. So what happened is after I actually did the fitness show, I had been doing some volunteer work for some nonprofits within the community. And they said, hey, Shannon, why don't you do a fitness program for us? And I'm like, again, stepping out of the comfort zone. Like, what are these people talking about? Did the fitness program, partnered, gave them 50% of the proceeds. And their program is geared towards youth. They're like up to middle school, and they have a football league. They also have a basketball league. It's for young girls and boys. And did the program, and we did a 6-week one the first time. And by the end, we had like 50 attendees. Like, it was crazy. I was honestly taken back. But I remember that one thing it did for me is continue to build my confidence, I think, as a leader, and as feeling confident about my abilities in the fitness world and feeling like I can do this. And I think it's a reminder that sometimes you need people around you to help push you, and you have to have the right people. Your circle is so important because they're going to help push you and motivate you. So after that nonprofit, then next thing I know, I created No Defeat, registered the business, and started really leaning in and leveraging 2 things I was passionate about, and continued to partner with different nonprofits and have did so for the last 5 years. And it also works well with my job because Verizon is really big about giving back into the community. I actually did a volunteer event today and it was like giving back for feeding the children. And we did a walk and did some volunteer efforts, but Verizon has also matched the donations and proceeds that I've done for these nonprofits. So I've been really blessed because it's all meshed very well, and it's allowed me to do all the things I'm passionate about. But the business really started to flourish, all based on me doing stuff that I love. And the business now has expanded to me having a management company, me having a clothing line. I've got one of my zip ups on. And again, I think it's just the business has continued to evolve, and it's evolved based on me leveraging just like talents that I have and that have been to the forefront based on the people around me. So it's worked out.
Just a little bit, you know.
Impressive.
Just a little bit. It's
I think that really, like, when you were talking, I was like, okay, No Defeat. Like, yeah, I did a show and No Defeat. Okay, I started doing this. Okay, No Defeat. Like, every time you said something, I was like, that goes with it. Yes.
Checking it off the list.
Exactly. Right. So, like you said, there's no boxes, and it's as much as people want to put boxes around you, and this could be everyone from your family to your friends to your workers, co-workers and everything. It's really empowering just to hear somebody who was just like, okay, and yep.
What's next?
Well, you just made a good point. I remember like a close friend, and I don't think any ill intent meant, but when I started doing the fitness program and collaborating and doing those things, I remember them saying, well, you have a good corporate job. Like, everybody doesn't need to be entrepreneurs. And in my head, I'm thinking, that's the thing, the mentality, like, you don't mean any harm, but who said that I couldn't have a business? Who said that I couldn't actually leverage my corporate job and those resources to do bigger and better things? And I think you have to also think about breaking generational curses. And that's another piece of it. If your mindset is based on what you've grown up around and what people tell you, you are having to stretch yourself and think outside the box. And again, that's why it's so imperative that you surround yourself with people who are going to say that's okay for you to think that way and to evolve as a person. So yeah, what you just said, man, that really hits home, because you will run into stuff like that. You also run into people who, like I always say, especially we're talking about fitness, always remember that somebody's always going to have something to say, right? Whether it's good, bad, and especially when you talk about your body and what you look like. And so you have to own that and know what is important to you, because I will tell you, like, I've always had what I would deem as a pretty good body, but somebody told me I went from like video body to like Terminator, like, jokingly, but
that could have been hurtful.
But you literally
keep it to yourself.
Yeah, but you will run into people who will, like, some people said, yeah, you should, like, you got too muscular. Why are you doing this? Like, you looked great before. And so that's what fitness has taught me, that you truly become confident and sold on yourself, on what you look like and what you want to be. And that's all that matters. And you have to remember that when you go through your fitness journey.
So thank you so much for just like sharing that story because, you know, like I said, it's empowering. Now, going into the fitness thing, you know, especially with Instagram, it is a big thing now to, you know, to stretch your stuff on Instagram, but people who are doing it are like doing like the easy way and like, oh, let me get a tummy tea or buy my tummy tea and get 20% off.
Get this waist trainer.
Exactly. Get this waist trainer and, you know, use my code. But we all know they went to Mexico and got that body. You know, just saying. I'm not adding anybody that we all know. So this is my thing for those who are, you know, in the trenches. I'm not gonna say like me because we ain't there yet. Really and truly, like when you were like, oh, I ran track, I was like, dang, I did too. Like I could have been standing, and I was like, like Kara, dang. But what do tummy teas and waist trainers, do they work?
What's your take on it?
What's your take?
So what I'll say is this is my opinion. For starters, I'm very particular about companies that I support. I have a pretty strong following and people will reach out and they want you to promote their business. They, you know, you get some of the proceeds and people make a lot of money through Instagram. Like social media has become a full stream of income for a number of people, right? And I think that's all great, but I think you have to be very, especially if you take your brand seriously and you know that your followers do listen to you and they do take your advice. I think that there's nothing wrong promoting things that you truly believe in. And I guess for me personally, that I'm always going to stand on that. So I'm not going to promote things that I don't agree with or think that they work. When it comes to some of those like tummy teas and all that stuff, what I will tell you is like, again, fitness is a journey. So I think some of these things can be short fixes and it doesn't mean that they don't work. Anything will work if you stick to the process, but it's no different than you sticking to a regimen that's healthier, right? So like, that's just like you cutting out pop or you cutting out carbs. Mm-hmm. It's going to work if you stick to the plan. So I think the only difference is when you use like a tea or something, they're basically giving you a plan of attack for whatever you're trying to do. You know, I think some of the cleanses probably do work. I know like my, one of my sisters, she supports one of the tea brands and she was like, man, this stuff works. But again, she's leveraging as a cleansing mechanism, not something that's like an ongoing fix or going to transform something. So that's my thought on that. I think you have to be mindful if you're going to leverage it for like a cleanse purpose or just to like jumpstart what you're trying to do. Great. I don't think it's something that's going to fully transform what you're trying to look like from a fitness perspective. I think you got to think about disciplines. That's going to have you long-term impact on where you're trying to go. Now, the waist trainers and all that stuff, I always tell people I believe in sweatbands. So like if you're working out, I do think you should get a sweatband because the sweatband is going, like if you're doing cardio and stuff, it's definitely going to work. So like when I'm competing, I will wear a sweatband when I'm working out. You can get cheap ones. You don't have to get like, I always think it's funny. There's some that are like so expensive. There's some that are cheap. And there's definitely a difference between a waist trainer and a sweatband. A sweatband, you're putting it on. It's going to be soaked when you get off the treadmill, Stairmaster, whatever the case, and you take it off. You wear it for the 2 hour of the workout, whatever the case is, you take it off. Now, a waist trainer is something that you're going to be wearing probably for hours. And I think you have to be mindful of that and careful because, I mean, I'm not a doctor. Y'all are way more effective in that realm. But I just don't see how that could potentially be healthy if think about that. Yeah. Your organ things can be shifting. So I don't really believe in waist trainers. I more so lean towards sweatbands and they do work. Competing, my waist went from probably a 27 to a 24 during the midst of that. Granted, I was doing cardio, but again, that means you have to have the effort on the fitness tip as well in conjunction with the sweatband. Not just, that's why I said a waist trainer, you're just wearing it. You're not doing anything else with it.
You're not doing the work.
So are there any exercises, as we get older, it starts to stick to you a little bit more? It's the truth. It's the truth.
Your metabolism slows down.
Yeah. I feel like I'll be a high girl forever, but I don't know how long this high girl body will stay. So, you got to go to the gym, or at least I feel like you should move around.
Yeah, flexibility for any, like, If you fall, you need to be able to get up. No, for real.
Right. You know, life alert may not be around your neck.
Right.
So, what exercises or what is your advice on something that you should be doing daily or weekly? You know, what should we be implementing in our exercise routine? Daily, weekly, like what is your advice?
Or even stretches, like what like say like somebody say, okay, I don't have time to do cardio right now, but let me do a stretch that's gonna still help me move the body.
So I think it's a good question, and I think it's different for everybody because you mentioned something like if they say I don't have time to do cardio, well, that's part of it. Everybody has a different schedule, you know, based on your job and things. Like some people have a lot more flexibility. So I would say the first thing before you think about like what are some tips that you can do is think about can you solidify some protected time and what does that look like? So if it's 10 minutes, then you're going to do something based on 10 minutes. If it's 30 minutes, you know what I'm saying? Like first assess what time and then put it on your calendar and stick to it. And that's the first step in you making moves there. I think Jasmine said it earlier, like just getting up and moving. So that's the thing when we think about cardio, also think about the midst of like, what does cardio mean? Because like, for example, I'm on now that we're working virtual, I'm on the phone all the time. Well, a lot of times I'll just get up and start walking with my Bluetooth on. But that's still a form of cardio and that's still being active. So even if you say, hey, for 30 minutes of the day, if you are working from home, hey, I'm going to get up, I'm going to take this call, not sitting at my desk, I'm going to turn the camera off, I'm going to get up, I'm going to have this call walking around, or I'm going to take a walk while I'm actually on the call. So I think walking is one of the easiest things that you can do because it can be while you're working. You know, it's something that's really easy to do. I think another controllable is, and this is hard for me, sleep. The amount of sleep you get is very imperative. I forget this one all the time. I'll say like my last show, I hit a plateau and I wasn't losing weight. And my coach was like, you know, walking through like my timelines of sleep. And he's like, you're not getting enough sleep. Your body is not recovering. And so I think that's another thing that we forget about, but you have to make sure that you're getting rest. And, you know, everyone's sleep patterns are different. For me, I don't really need more than 6 hours of sleep, but for somebody else, they might need 8 or 10 hours. Like it's based on your body type. And then I would also say like drinking water. Like water, this is a hard one sometimes, but we should be trying to aim towards a gallon of water a day. And I think you build up to it. If you're somebody that doesn't drink water, I don't expect you to go from 0 to 100 in one day, but I think you should start aiming up to it because water takes care of a lot of things. And it also jumpstarts the metabolism. So when you were talking about like, hey, as we get older, that's true. Our metabolism is going to slow down, but that's the interesting part. The more as our metabolism is slowing down, like us drinking water, us actually eating more food. I'll say when I compete, that's the tough part, eating 8 times a day, but you actually start losing weight. Like it's crazy to think about how the body works, eating 8 meals a day, but small meals, but you're literally losing weight because your body is jump starting in terms of metabolism. So workouts, I would say, yeah, you can work out, but I think those are some elements that are like easily can be adjusted. But then in terms of some simple things, I would say walking is number one, walking or running or whatever you want to do, but getting up and moving. So actually giving yourself 30 minutes within the day or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you can. Walking is something that's easy. Walking, sleep, and water.
So, and I would say to that about the running/walking thing, my dad coaches track for the YMCA, like with USAA and not USAA, USATF and AAU and stuff. And he was saying to the point that track or walking is one of those sports that you can do literally until you die. Like you can't play basketball all the time till you die because your knees will mess up. Right. You can't do, football until you die. Is that too much wear and tear? But you can literally see people who are 99 years old that get up and run every day. And so, mine's a little track, but it's something that is going to be beneficial.
I agree with that.
You're spot on.
I agree with that. So I know we were just talking about you made a good point and you were just saying how like you plateaued and getting rest was, really, really important. And I know for me, sleep is one of those things that I fight to go to bed. Like me and sleep is just it's not a thing. But I noticed like when I work out, I do feel better. When you work out, anxiety is less. You know, when you get a good night's sleep, you actually do, you know, feel better.
Yeah.
So do you believe that our physical, spiritual, and mental health are all, you know, connected and impacted by, you know, our physical health and by working out? How does all of that align, like in your opinion?
Oh, I wholeheartedly believe that. You know, when I talked about earlier, like being able to multitask and do all these things, like my spirituality is a huge part. And I will say first and foremost, I don't think I'd be as successful as I am if I did not have that spiritual foundation. And I think it's always at the core of everything that I do. You know, your self-care, Jasmine, almost what you're saying is talking about your self-care. And I think a lot of times we forget to do those things, but it's even more imperative. And I think even in the midst of COVID, it's even more imperative because our mental health is important. Our physical health is important. And when you think about those things, your spirituality, and that looks different for everybody, right? Like I'm a Christian, but you know, that might be different for everybody. But, you know, I start my day out with meditation and prayer, and that really sets the stage for my day. You know, you have to put yourself in a good space. And so I think all those things impact because your body reacts. So when we talked about sleep, your body's trying to protect itself. It's saying, hey, I need sleep. I'm not getting it. And it's trying to do those things. So think about if you're stressed. You know, people deal with stress differently. Some people lose weight. Some people gain weight. Some people stop eating. Some people start eating too much. You know, so there are, you know, and I've been in both places. I've done both. So that's why I say it's really important. I think I'm in agreement. I think they all are very connected and that you have to make sure that you are doing self-care. I mean, one thing that I've done to manage my stress is, you know, working out is a huge piece of it. But I started going to this spa that I love and I go there once a month. And granted, I'm like, Shannon, this is not the cheapest thing to do, but it's imperative for me to go because I think it helps me reset and I just leave everything there. It gives me time to just think clearly. And I go by myself, intentionally going by myself so that I can think clearly and reset. So I agree. I think those things help you to remain strong, remain in the right state of mind. And it can't hurt you to have all three, especially when you have, you know, if you do have goals, whether they are physical goals, financial goals, whatever the case might be, I think they're all imperative to you being successful.
I mean, by that, right? Boom, boom. I think we had one last. It was kind of earlier. You mentioned that you started talking about it. You mentioned how you start your day with meditation, but is there any like regular routine workout you'd like to share that you just be, this is my go-to, y'all. I always do this, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
So that's hard for me when you said that question. It's hard because, so for one, I have an ebook. I literally created this ebook because at one point in my career, probably 2 years ago, I was covering 12 states. I was on a flight every week. I was just all over the place. And I'm like, how do you stay disciplined? How do you have a regimen that's going to work? One that's going to work if somebody is in a hotel, whatever the case might be. And then also from a food standpoint. So I do, but I think regimens based on even body, like a muscle group. So I will tell you, okay, I can give you a few like go-to exercises that I love. So side raises. People always tell me I have good arms. I laugh because I definitely give my mom credit. She has fantastic arms. She will probably always have fantastic arms. But side raises are so easy, right? You can have like a 5-pound weight, 3-pound weight, but you're just going straight up to the side. But those side raises.
Jazz over here trying to learn how to do it.
She about to punch me in the face trying to get it ready.
Yes. Well, the side raises I think are awesome because they're easy. Push-ups, even on the knee. Those people always love their arms to look good. I feel like training people, that is like one of the number one things. People are like, I want my arms looking good. How can you help me improve this?
This is Angela Bassett's fault. Like, we love you, Angela Bassett, but it's your fault. We all want to look like Tina.
Everybody wants to look like her when she came out.
She's just looking excellent, always. But also another exercise would be squats. You know, those things you can do in your home. So squats, you could do regular squats, you can do jump squats, you can do squats that are isolated. Like those are easy ones that you can do anywhere, and they're definitely going to have an impact. And then walking lunges, but I also say caution the walking lunges if you have knee problems. Like for me personally, you know, I switch it up because from track, like one of my knees starts to bother me if I put too much pressure on it. So squats, walking lunges, side raises, those are easy ones that you can do anywhere and take little amount of weights. And to throw out there, the classes I've done, those are all body weight classes. And people will be like, I can't believe I'm this sore from doing a body weight exercise class. But that just shows how powerful your body is. You don't necessarily need weights to see, especially when you're talking about toning. So those are easy ones you can do at home. And I do have an ebook that's all body weight exercises that's meant to be for somebody on the go who doesn't have a lot of time.
Come on,
Shannon, let me tell you, I am really bad at push-ups. I need, the next time we together, I need you to teach me how to do a formal push-up.
You can't do the ones on the knees?
No, like I can.
Yes, you can.
I can get lower, but I still don't feel like I'm doing it correctly.
Correctly.
Yes. And I think that like that's something we really have to say is to make sure you're doing these exercises correctly.
Correct.
You will hurt yourself, and there's a lot of videos online. You know, Shannon will make sure that she's gonna like teach you how to do it. But like doing a squat don't mean just squat down. You need to make sure that you have the form.
Oh, yeah.
And everything. So that's just my PSA for everybody.
Do your exercises correctly.
Yeah, make sure you're doing the correct form. Yes.
Well, you're right. I mean, I'll tell you, there's been people I've trained, they've been athletes, they're in shape, but we'll start working out and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling way more, like I can feel the impact because you might switch. That's why it's like everybody needs a coach. So like when I train for coach, I have a coach because they're going to be able to correct those. They're going to fine tune stuff. And you may think that you are doing it correctly. You know, if you've been an athlete, you're like, I know how to do a squat. Like, what are you talking about? But there'll be little tweaks and you'll be in shock. I'll even say, like, for me, I've learned a lot. Like, every year I learn something different. I'm like, wow, I was doing that incorrectly, or I should try this. So you hit it on the nose. You got to have the right form because you also don't want to get hurt. And I've seen that happen too, especially lifting. Not having the right form can really hurt your back, your knees, and long-term can have a really bad impact on just, on your health.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you guys, I think we have reached a good point, and we are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
She said she a diva, she go up like a needle. I cannot misread her. I know our back is unequal. I know how I'ma treat her. So fresh like Aquafina.
All right, and we are back, and Kara is about to give us a Today in Black History moment.
Yeah, today in Black History.
Your
It's
favorite
March
part?
9th. It's my favorite part. It's March 9th. Today in Black History is Dr. Rebecca Davis Lee Crumpler.
All right.
That was a lot to say. I'm not gonna lie. So
Tell me about it.
okay, so she was considered the first Black woman physician. Okay.
Doctor.
She a doctor.
Okay.
She a doctor. She completed her MD in 1864, and this was 3 years before Dr. Cole, who was previously known as the first physician. But she is the first Black physician, Dr. Crumpler.
I love
We
it.
love
Today
to
in
see
Black
it.
History. We love to see it.
Today in Black History.
So now it's time for the resources.
Yes.
And Shannon, as the expert, is gonna hook us up with the resources of how we can get fit in the new year.
Get fit, keep it right, keep it tight. Ooh.
That Bubba Sparks.
Bubba Sparks.
Woo! Come on, Shannon. What you got?
So I would say the first thing, and I have to speak for I needed to do this too. Like, first, I would go see your physician. Like, go get you a normal physical. And I think as we get older, think about when you was in sports, you had to get physical. You always went to go get your physical. It's a normal thing. Well, as we get older, I think it's really important that first off, we go see our doctor. We go check in, make sure everything is good. We're in a good space. everything is working great, perfect. After that, I think it just depends on your fitness level and also your goals that you're trying to achieve. If we're talking about like some general apps that you could just for accountability purposes, I'd say MyFitnessPal. I still love that app. I know it's like one of the older ones, but I really love it. They have MyFitnessBuddy. That's another one. And then there's a number of ones that you can just look up that they have like in terms of like your 30 days, right? So like I think a lot of those though are about accountability. So that's really what it's about. But like I said, I would first get you a physical and do a pulse check, make sure you're good. Based on your goals and what you're trying to achieve, you may need a trainer. You may need like it just depends. Like if you feel like, hey, the applications are not going to work for me, I need somebody to kick my butt in the gym, and I need somebody to be checking in on me once a week, telling me this is what I need to do. Then I do some research and see if you want to get a trainer, right? Whether they're virtual or in person, and figure out what that looks like, and also based on your budget. And then I would also say maybe do some research on online programs that have a regimen. I know my ebook has not only a workout regimen, but it also has a high-level nutrition regimen that kind of gives you a pathway into, hey, are you eating from these food groups? Like, do you have portion control? So it gives you a good starting point. It's not the end-all be-all, but it gives you some insight on where you should start, where you can start, and then some of those workouts and things that you could literally do from home. I think the ultimate message, though, is discipline and accountability for yourself. And I'll tell you this, like, people can encourage you to do something, and you can say you're going to do something, but, like, nobody can convince you until you have internally said, this is what I'm doing and this is my goal. And I think that's the most important part, is that you set the goal, you write the goal down. I always try to give myself an actual, like, even in fitness, because it's a journey, but I would say, like, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this show in April. Well, at this point, I know I can't mess up because I'm going to be on stage in April. That may not be the same for everybody else. Your goal might be, hey, I want to wear this outfit in 2 months. I want to get into this swimsuit because I'm going on vacation. I'm getting married. And I think sometimes that's necessary. Everybody's different, but that having a goal makes it that much easier, because then you know there's a path in sight and you know what you're working towards.
I like it. Yeah. And what is the name of your ebook, just so we can spotlight that right now?
So you can go to my website. It's www.nodefeat.co, and it pops up right over the banner. It's one of the products that you can purchase. And yeah, it's Shan's ebook. It'll pop up, and it's really, like I said, I created it based on like just realizing like people are on the go. Like, you sometimes don't have 2 hours to work out. You have 30 minutes. You need something that you can hit it hard. You know what you're doing. You can do it from your, there's one that even has like a piece that talks about, like, if you work, because like I said, I was traveling a lot for work. So I was in hotels, and those gyms are all different. The room is different. But talking about how can you leverage a chair to do certain workouts. Mm-hmm. Most hotels are going to have a room in there, right? I mean, I have a chair in there. Different stuff like that you can do on the go, and then also fine tuning just from a nutrition standpoint. Because I will say that in terms of getting healthy, your nutrition is a huge piece. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to admit that you can be working out, turning it up, but the diet is such a big part. And if you do the diet and you get that under control, really your working out is just going to be icing on the cake.
I'm looking at the book now.
I'm
already signed up.
We were like, what is Jack over here doing? She has her phone over here already typing. I got it up.
First of all,
women supporting women.
Yeah. I'm supposed to do this for my birthday. When you mentioned like, oh, it's, something big coming up, but don't let like that big thing pass and you still not meet your goal. Like, I think it's just more motivation. Like you said, we're getting older. It's not like the time is gonna be any like sooner. It's the time is now. So I'm ready to not be told that I have to do something and like, be proactive about it.
Start it when you just feel it and not because you have to.
Yeah, it's deep. It was scary when you said to go to the doctor and get a physical. I was like, oh yeah, let me show.
And y'all know what? Before she even mentioned that, my mama, quick story, was giving me like an earful like 2 weeks ago, and she was like, you need to go get your physical. I'm like, why? After like my
sorry,
why? But after like I had COVID and everything. She's just been on me. She's like, you need a clean.
You haven't had a physical since COVID?
No, I haven't.
We don't know how long
Benny,
capacity.
On my head.
Miss Benny, I'm sorry. I did not know. I would have been on her too.
I
Jasmine,
am going to get my
It's
full
all mine.
physical. I'm going to the doctor in February to start the year off right. I couldn't get in before this, y'all. But yeah, I'm
It's okay. It's okay. We all forget about it. Like honestly,
Your yearly physical?
it's hard.
We're gonna have to have a side conversation.
All right, that's fine. But anyways, y'all.
Oh, I know.
See, now Shannon got us all talking about our physicals. Like,
And our pursuit.
But I do physical. But just because like I do my yearly paps, when I do my yearly paps,
There we
so then my yearly physical.
Check it off the list, baby. We healthy over here. I love it. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you. So this is the way that you are going to get to know Shannon, follow Shannon, get the ebook, knowdefeat.co.
no defeat.
But you can also check her out on IG.
Yes.
And
Shannon, what is your IG? Give it to the people. Where can the people find Shannon Burge? Give them all of your MySpace, top 8, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Where can they find you?
So I would say the most real-time stuff, I probably post the most on Instagram. It's Shannon. So my first name, SHANNON_Burge, B as in boy, URGE. And, that's my first and last name. So it's the same thing if you look me up on Facebook. I do have a closed group called No Defeat Warriors. And that group, we got to get it back more active. We were doing a ton of challenges a few years ago. But that's really, it's a closed group because I want people to feel comfortable with posting things that maybe they have questions or they've made progress or whatever the case might be. So that is a closed group. So you can definitely request it. It's No Defeat Warriors. And then you can also go to my website, www.knowdefeat.co. You can check out information, really gives you also a synopsis on why I even started the business. So it gives you a little bit more information about my priorities, my vision for even No Defeat, where I'm trying to go with that. I do want to actually start a nonprofit called No Defeat Warriors because, I think look back, and I should have just started a nonprofit because a lot of the stuff that the company does is in correlation to nonprofits. So that website will give you a lot of information. You can also hit the contact me link on there as well. As I update apparel, you have insight on there. So yeah, just lock me in. It's pretty easy to find me.
Thank you. Yeah, you want to plug everybody else quickly?
Yes. Before I do plug everybody, I would like to highlight our charity for the month. Our charity for the month of March is going to be the Family Sunshine Center, which is located here in Montgomery, Alabama. And the reason that I chose this charity is because April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, as well as Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. So because that is what the month of April is dedicated to, I figured that should be the charity for March. So in April we can make donations to the Family Sunshine Center. And if you are in the Montgomery area, the Family Sunshine Center is dedicated to in family violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. They foster like an immediate safe haven to victims who are in crisis, women and children specifically. And if you are ever in a situation where you are in a crisis, they will take you in. So that is why I wanted to highlight and give to the organization who does so much for women and children in need. So yes, April is Sexual Assault and Child Abuse Awareness Month. Those are two issues that are very near and dear to my heart. I'm all about keeping the women and the children safe. If you know me, you know that is what I dedicated my life to these days. So yeah, that is why I chose that charity for the month of March. So 10% of our merch sales will go to the Family Sunshine Center. Or if you would just like to make a donation, of course, you can do that directly to the Family Sunshine Center. Our musical artist for this episode was Almighty KDP. That is his Instagram. You can find him. His real name is Kenneth Barnes. And I'll let Dr. Jazz introduce our visual artist.
I'm going to get like him.
Oh my God.
Today's visual artist. I can't even do it right.
Maryland.
Was Terrence, Showtime, Showroom, Showtime. My partner, he's so dope. He did some digital art of us, which you can check out on our YouTube, our, MySpace, Tappy, whatever you say. All that. Yeah, check him out. Feel free, hit him up. Y'all want some custom art? That's what he do.
All right. And y'all already know to follow all things with Audacity. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We have a Zipstream link out now. MySpace. I always say that one day we're gonna get back on MySpace.
I think the Zippy Stream is definitely something that's new this season. So we're gonna get like your email, and we have newsletters that come out, so you'll get like the detail of what's popping with Audacity. If we have a special promo code that's only for those type of listeners and stuff, and you'll just be basically the With Audacity fam. Like I said, you no longer the play cousin, you the blood cousin. Like we ain't play cousins no more. You part of the fam. You really fam. You fam now.
So you know where to find us. Our link tree has all of our information. You can always follow me, Jazz, Lawyer Jazz, and you love with a 3_Jazz. I'm spelling it out this season.
That new season, baby.
I'm gonna change my name to 3. Y'all
Oh my God.
Kara, you are
Flipspro at Flipspro.
Yeah, you can catch me at Dr. Jazz 2020.
all right.
And then you check out our girl Shannon.
Yes, thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yes, thank you.
All righty. Well, y'all be bold, be audacious,
And check out the merch.
Boom, check out the merch, y'all. Y'all remember who the merch sales are going to, y'all. Shop, shop, shop.
Shop, shop, shop. So peace, love, and
We out this thing, man.
Bye, baby.
All of my exotic, my niggas kiss body. What you know about it? Yeah, we go out the Barneys, we go out the Follies. My baby a Barbie. Yeah, let's pop up some bottles, let's pop up some tests, hit the other party. Yeah, we go out the Barneys, we go out the Follies. My baby a Barbie. Yeah, let's pop up some bottles, let's pop up some tests, hit the other party. Yeah, y'all know she ain't playing. She know I ain't playing. I'm rockin' Cleveland. That was part of the plan. Shit, we flipping these bands, I'm cracking like cans. I'm fresh as a casket. Shit, she got on that product, she look like a mop. I didn't call her like basket. Down the wall, yeah, out of my dog. Yeah, we be Chris Paul. Yeah, kiss on that fall. And let's been fucking involved. Yeah, I'm dodging the laws. We ain't no for the blows. Yeah. All of my bitches exotic, my niggas kiss body. What you know about it? Yeah, we go out the Barneys, we go out the Follies. My baby a Barbie. Yeah, let's pop up some bottles, let's pop up some tests, hit the other party. Yeah, we go out the Barneys, we go out the Follies. My baby a Barbie. Yeah, let's pop up some bottles, let's pop up some tests, hit the other party. Yeah.
Everyone's listening and watching you now.
Oh my God. Is this thing on?
Is this thing on?